Buongiorno a tutti, benvenuti a questo convegno. Poiché il convegno, come sapete, è in inglese, anche perché verrà registrato su YouTube e messo a disposizione dei nostri colleghi dell'ALLEA, inizierò subito in inglese, o almeno cercherò di farlo. Dear colleagues and friends, I'm very pleased to welcome all of you. I thank you very much for coming to this important meeting of the Academy of Sciences of Turin. I would like to give a particular welcome to our guests of honor, so to speak, Professor Amato, and the representatives of ALLEA, the Federation of all European Academies, which cooperated with us in the organization of this conference. I mean President Loprieno and Past President Engelbrecht. Unfortunately, Past President Stock had to cancel his attendance, due to an unexpected Lufthansa strike. Of course, it's a pleasure for me to greet and to thank all other speakers as well, most of whom are members of our academy, belong to this academy. We have been waiting for this moment for a long time. The conference began to be prepared more than 1 year ago, but its design was already drafted by my predecessor, Professor Piazza. I'm very grateful to him for this idea, for this brilliant idea. This idea that I then carried on. And got to put into practice with the support and advice and suggestions of many other members of the Academy, and with the help, with the material help of the whole staff. I thank all of them very, very heartily indeed. I will introduce the conference in a few minutes with some considerations, but first, let's move on to the greetings of the authorities. We have received a message of the mayor of Turin, Chiara Pendino, that I'll summarize so as to save time. Where is it? The mayor apologized, of course, for not attending the conference due to other institutional commitments. She ensures her interest in our works and recalls the role Turin has always played in producing and promoting culture and knowledge. And she finally wishes everyone a good work and a good stay for our guests. Now, I leave the floor for the greetings to the highest academic authorities of our city and of our region. the rectors of our three universities. We begin with the University of Turin. Unfortunately, Professor Geuna, the new rector of the University of Turin, is engaged abroad, is today in Brussels, if I'm not mistaken, but he has delegated the vice rector, Professor Cuniberti, Gianluca Cuniberti, and I thank you for your presence, and I give you the floor. Please.
Good afternoon. I am very glad to be here representing my university. I bring you the greetings of the rector, Stefano Geuna, who cannot be present because of an institutional commitment in Brussels. Also, on his behalf, I thank the Accademia delle Scienze and its president for the invitation. I also thank all the European Academies Association for invitation. This honor is very important to me because this conference is an excellent opportunity for dialogue and discussion on a very topical subject. Our time of crisis. In these times of crisis, the development of European knowledge societies. In this development, the role of the academies. The conference program indicates a fundamental itinerary of analysis to understand our contemporary world, our contemporary Europe. Summaries of this itinerary are the keywords of the title of the exceptional speakers. European values, European identity, interdisciplinarity, human rights, fundamental freedoms, challenges, defense of the environment, European industrial development, the migration dilemma, cultural heritage, the information-rich society, the role of the public opinion, European national languages. Maybe nothing more is needed to face the crisis. But the honor of being present here is not only for the excellence of the conference, but also for the gratitude that binds the University of Turin to the Accademia delle Scienze. In fact, the Accademia delle Scienze today questions its own role and the role of the academies. Actually, the Accademia delle Scienze hasn't begun this reflection just today, and it already plays an active role in our knowledge society in Turin. It is sufficient to remember in Mercoledì dell'Accademia, the prizes and scholarships, the editorial activity, the exhibition, the participation in Sistema Scienza Piemonte, training and courses for teachers, the didactic laboratories, the library, the archive. For all these activities and all these projects, the University of Turin is grateful to the Accademia delle Scienze, and the university is at its side to promote, to enhance the role of the Academy in Turin, in Italy, in Europe. I wish all of you a good work, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much also for your kind words regarding the Academy of Sciences of Turin. Now is the turn of the Rector of Polytechnic of Turin, Professor Guido Saracco. I thank him very much to be here with us at the opening of the works. I know he is very busy. He too has to leave our conference in a few minutes, very soon. Anyway, we'll share his society for a longer time tomorrow, yep, when he participates at our works as a speaker. Guido, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Massimo. I'm a proud member of the Accademia of Sciences of Torino, and this is one of the main reasons why I'm here, and I'm pushing hard for the role of academies in modern times, which are times of crisis indeed. Times where the knowledge that we were in universities and academies preserving, I would say, from corruption in a sort of ebony tower and delivering to students in a rather traditional, rigorous way, is questioned by common people. There is a crisis of competences, and the role of competences is not recognized as it was a long time ago. When you have such a crisis time, then normal people are tempted by easy solution to complex problems, are tempted by saying that, okay, you are a professor, but the real life is elsewhere. We need to defeat this as soon. This is, I would say it's a sort of crusade that we need to fight for preserving the role of competences. But to do that, we universities and possibly also the academies have to change. We are trying to change deeply in the way we are doing our missions, education, research, technology transfer. If the society moves so fast, also due to the technologies that we have been developing in these recent years, we have to move as fast in changing the way we are teaching. We are educating people. It's no more acceptable to have a 5-year program that ends up in a 7-year time in the university with a fixed frame of contents. The world is changing meanwhile, and you're at the risk of having a professional graduated that do not recognize the world that has been learning. For this reason, we need to mix blood with society. And I was just a few days ago in a meeting in Darmstadt for one of the 17 projects on the creation of European networks of university to establish new way of educating, of doing research, of transferring technology to society. And I was blessed by the fact that all the ideas there are inside our strategic plan, which means educate technologies with human and social sciences, let them work together to solve complex problems from the beginning, putting together students from different disciplines, facing challenges and testing their innovation where they are still in the classrooms of university. And to do this new type of education, you need people that can teach this, can assist the students. We desperately need you to help. And this is stays at the background of a new convention, a new agreement with the Academy of Science and Polytechnico that we are going to sign, and will lead your bright minds in our classroom back to follow students, mixing up the disciplines that in such a big academia are present over the entire span of knowledge of the society. So I am excited to start doing this, and I know by experience that there is a lot of things that can be done by all of you, my colleagues in the academia, to help this change of paradigm in our way of educating. With this in mind, I wish you the success with this conference, and I will be part of it, as Massimo said, tomorrow morning, talking about one of the big challenges, the environment, the climate change, and that's anywhere you have a challenge, a complex system, it has risks, but there's also opportunities, and we can really, by providing good solutions, climb the steps that see now Europe a big back compared to other parts of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Guido. And finally, I have the pleasure to give the floor to the rector of the Eastern Piedmont University, Professor Avanzi. Please.
Thank you so much. Good evening to everybody. Our university is a very young university. It has only 20 years of age, but it's very bright, and I completely agree with Professor Saracco's speech, because we are trying to move to different direction respect to the old university that we know. We want to change our courses. We want to change our research. We have planned a new plan in 5 years, in which we want to have the opportunity for our students to have new competences, new skills, to meet more the necessity of the society and the industries. One of the most important problems in our country, but I think also in Europe, is that the university has not the same speed of the society. And we need to be more close to the society and to follow the needs that we can imagine, and also to prevent, to imagine what will happen in the future. It is important. That's why it's important also to have the opinion of people that is retired, that is doing something different after the university. That's why Accademia can help very much this new road that we are just in this moment running. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much to you too. As I told you, I will now introduce the conference with a few opening words that I will read in order to be as clear as possible, while also saving time. I apologize for this, but since we have a lot of work to do this afternoon, we must follow our talk schedule as closely as possible. So, this conference has a twofold focus, reflecting the history of its organization. The first goal is to inquire what the role of academies may be today. The members of Academy of Sciences of Turin have often asked themselves this question and felt the need to address this problem as the subject of a specific conference. The problem can be considered on two levels. In the first place, we must ask ourselves to what extent academies can still carry out the tasks for which they were founded many centuries ago throughout Europe, namely to produce knowledge. Therefore, we have scheduled several papers that aim to answer this question from different disciplinary perspectives. Yet, we must be aware that only large academies can still perform this original function on a large scale. For this reason, we must welcome the 25th anniversary of ALLEA, which has been celebrated with the recent Bern conference. In doing so, we wish for ourselves an even more intense cooperation between the several member academies in the years to come. However, in addition to this avenue of inquiry, it is also necessary to explore new functions, albeit perhaps minor, that academies may perform today. These functions can be profitably fulfilled even by middle-sized academies, like national or regional ones. While retaining a particular attention for the production of knowledge, these academies should probably consider the communication and the dissemination of knowledge as their primary task. In order to achieve this objective, we need to overcome serious difficulties, even if more practical than theoretical in nature. Rooting in the territory, establishing a synergic relationship with other cultural institutions and with the administration, harmonizing the Academy's cultural programs and the taste of the general public, balancing preservation of historical memory and attention to current events. These are just some of the challenges that still require our continuing effort. The second focus of the conference stems from the collaboration with ALLEA, from which came two important suggestions. The first advice was to frame the question of the role of academies in the European context specifically, including the conference in a series of meetings sponsored by ALLEA on the theme Europe on Test, Narratives of Union and Disunion. After a first conference organized in London by the British Academy, 3 other ALLEA member academies, Göttingen, Helsinki and Warsaw, have already discussed the crisis of the European Union from different points of view. The second advice was to consider these problems against the background of knowledge society. That is, of a society in which knowledge takes on a central role in social and economic processes. The connection between the European Union and knowledge society was already stressed by the European Council held in Lisbon in March 2000, when the European Union was assigned the strategic goal of developing an economy based on a more competitive and dynamic kind of knowledge, in order to achieve sustainable growth with improved working conditions and greater social cohesion. Most scholars in social and political sciences maintain that knowledge society has become an essential feature of today's world. Accordingly, the challenges it poses will decide our future, not only in Europe, but also globally. By placing the issue of knowledge at the center of socio-political dynamics, knowledge society would take the place of the outdated industrial society, emphasizing intellectual capital rather than the economic financial capital. Furthermore, knowledge society improves and surpasses information society, which depends on the success of web and digital communication. However, I believe there is a further reason, and a negative one, for considering the problems related to the role of the European Union in the framework of knowledge society. The recent awakening of European cohesion seems to go hand in hand with two critical features of knowledge society. The first aspect one must consider is that the transition from information society to the knowledge society is far from complete. A large portion of digital information circulated through the media dramatically lacks any objectivity and is no knowledge at all. I am thinking of slogans, fake news, unverified quantitative data, unlikely interpretation, claiming scientific certainty, and so on. These contents frequently generate a public opinion that is as quantitatively stark as it is qualitatively weak. Most frequently, the spurs of such a public opinion include egoistic and particularistic motivations which are at odds with conceiving perspectives and strategies involving communities wider than one's own. The second critical aspect in present knowledge society, at least in my opinion, is that its contents, even when they qualify as bona fide knowledge, are for the most part exclusively functional. Even when problem setting is connected to problem solving, technological aspects are usually considered a priority in order to attain practical skills and know-how competencies. This attitude presents notable social implications, since the possibility of improving one's skills in the workplace leads to the acquisition of a higher position in production processes and, in consequence, on the social scale. However, the fulfillment of these productive or social goals does not guarantee that growth in knowledge should correspond to a similar growth in awareness and critical capability. In a word, knowledge, having emancipated itself from sheer information, has yet to become a real culture. And so we can now return to our starting point. In order to turn into culture, in the broadest and most noble sense of the word, technological and humanistic knowledge must meet. We need, therefore, to promote the synergy not only between different technological competencies, but also between the two fundamental cultures. On the one hand, that which aims at the scientific understanding of reality and at its technological availment. On the other, that which explores the human world in terms of sociological, anthropological, juridical, philosophical, literary, and artistic aspects. This task, I believe, can be carried out by interdisciplinary academies more than any other cultural institution. Thank you very much.